The Warden's Table. Station Varel 9's canteen was usually a din of clattering utensils, multilingual chatter, and the constant hum of the air recyclers, trying and failing to mask the smell of 20 species' preferred cuisines. Tonight, it was nearly silent. Warden Tarkash felt the tension immediately as he joined his team. Officers from across the sector were fearless when facing armed smugglers, berserk mercenaries, or malfunctioning security drones, but mention humans? Their carapaces tightened, their frills flattened, their pupils dilated. Tarkash folded his legs beneath him and took his seat. "You want the rest of the story," he said, not asking. Shura, the smallest of the bunch, nodded vigorously. "Warden, you stopped right at the part with the remains. We cannot eat or sleep without knowing what happened next." "Humans make excellent sleeping deterrents," muttered Rel. Tarkash exhaled. "Very well, but understand, what I'm telling you was sealed under 3 layers of EarthGov classification. If this ever leaves this table, assume your next assignment will be off the star charts." Nobody moved. Good, Tarkash thought. They're taking it seriously. He began. Humans, the paradox species. "You must first understand the nature of humans," Tarkash said. "Without that, none of this makes sense." Harim snorted, "Assuming humans make sense at all." "Exactly," Tarkash replied. "Humans," he explained, were the galaxy's most self-contradictory species. Warriors one moment, diplomats the next, capable of extraordinary compassion and extraordinary cruelty within the same breath. They were social pack creatures with a long evolutionary history of cooperation. Yet some humans severed all social bonds and lived as fiercely autonomous individuals. They feared isolation, yet countless human explorers willingly shipped themselves into deep space alone for decades. They spoke endlessly, often loudly. And yet, Tarkash said, the quiet ones are the most dangerous. Shura shuddered. "Like Subject 7. Tarkash nodded. Arrival of a man with no shadows. Subject 7 arrived on Astroblock under an escort of 6 EarthGov officers. They refused to explain the transfer. Their faces were tight, their hands always near their weapons. The human walked without resistance, without emotion, without hesitation. He did not look at the staff. He did not look at the other prisoners. He barely looked at the floor. It was as if he was walking through a world only he could see. His file was almost completely blank. No birthplace, no affiliations, no known associates, no previous convictions, no recorded work history, education, or medical records. That alone was unusual. Humans documented everything. But what alarmed Tarkash most was the final line in the transfer summary. Recommendation: do not place with other humans. That is not a suggestion, Shura whispered. No, Tarkash agreed. It is a warning. Subject 7 was housed in Cell 7, an isolation module with adaptive restraints. He never resisted, never complained. When Tarkash reviewed his first 48 hours of surveillance, he saw something that unsettled him. The human did nothing. Not pacing, not nervous habits, not sleep disruption. He simply sat, perfectly calm, perfectly still. Humans do not do stillness, Tarkash said gravely. When they are motionless, it means they are thinking. And that, Rel said, is the most dangerous state for them to be in. The Veshrin problem. Astroblock held many species, but the Veshrin were the most troublesome. Small, fast, and capable of climbing nearly any surface, the Veshrin held a long history of smuggling weapons, contraband tech, and, most infamously, fetters used for ritual punishments within their hive societies. Despite their size, they instilled fear in other species. They were unpredictable and ruthlessly intelligent. 3 days after Subject 7 arrived, a Veshrin disappeared. The Veshrin guard factions blamed rival clans. The rival clans blamed guards. The guards blamed structural glitches. But inside Tarkash, something felt wrong. The second disappearance confirmed his instinct. By the sixth disappearance, the Veshrin were in a state of low-level panic, a condition they rarely displayed as it indicated vulnerability. Their antennae flattened every time they passed Cell 7, Tarkash said. Many took alternate routes around the block, adding kilometers to their daily movement. Instinctive fear response, muttered Shura. Yes, the most primal kind. The human who did nothing until he did. Subject 7 maintained a strict routine. Every morning, he stood, folded his bedding, and washed precisely for 94 seconds. Every exercise period, he walked exactly 26 laps, half clockwise, half counterclockwise. Every evening, he sat on the floor, hands resting on knees, eyes unfocused, as if in meditation. He spoke only when spoken to. He obeyed every instruction. Other humans attempted conversation. He ignored them politely but firmly. Other species hurled insults. He did not react. He was the calmest storm ever bottled, Tarkash said. But when Veshrin passed near him, their bodies trembled. Something passed between them, something invisible yet unmistakable. That, Tarkash said softly, was the first sign. The riot. All fires start with a spark. Riots do not erupt from nothing. Tension builds, pressure multiplies. The spark came from the manufacturing wing. A Veshrin detainee discovered pieces of exoskeleton, fresh, bloody, and unmistakably belonging to one of the missing. The worker screamed, others gathered, panic spread like a chemical flame. The Veshrin attacked indiscriminately, other species retaliated, humans joined with explosive enthusiasm. Tarkash's team deployed shock grenades, hallucinogenic pacifiers, acoustic cannons. None of it worked, Tarkash told his officers. The riot swallowed everything. One human, just one, stayed monstrously calm. Subject 7 walked through the chaos as if strolling through a park, untouched by the violence swirling around him. He neither attacked nor defended. He simply moved, quietly, purposefully. Where was he going? Asked Shura. Toward the maintenance corridors, Tarkash said. Toward the smell. Descent into the dark. When security sensors flagged biocontamination in a waste chute, Tarkash and a squad responded. The corridor was dim, lit only by flickering strips of emergency light. The air smelled of oxidized metal and citrus, the scent Veshrin glands release when terrified. We followed the trail, Tarkash said, and found Subject 7 kneeling. He paused. Every officer at the table leaned toward him. You found him doing what? Whispered Rel. Arranging, Tarkash said. That is the only word for it. Around the human were Veshrin remains, not torn apart randomly, not butchered chaotically, placed, arranged in spirals and geometric formations, patterns Tarkash had only ever seen in restricted Veshrin religious documents. The human's face was calm, his breathing slow, his pulse steady. He looked up as Tarkash approached and said, These were dead long before I touched them. I only returned them to order. Things humans should not know. After restraining Subject 7, who surrendered immediately, a forensic review began. Specialists confirmed the arrangement matched Veshrin dissolution rites, an execution ritual used only for hive traitors. Veshrin leadership denied ever teaching these rites to any outsiders. How did a human know them? How did he perform them so precisely? And, most disturbingly of all, why did the ritual calm the Veshrin riots once word spread? Some of them began praying, not to their own gods, to him. Humans attracting a cult following? Grimaced Harem. That is how civilizations fall. The transfer and the message left behind. 2 weeks later, EarthGov crisis officers arrived to extract Subject 7. The officers looked relieved, as if retrieving something dangerous but necessary. Subject 7 walked between them quietly, almost gently. Before leaving, he said only one thing to Tarkash. Thank you for keeping the door closed.
No one understood what he meant. 3 days later, a maintenance worker found something behind an old coolant pipe in the same corridor where Subject 7 had been discovered. A mark, fresh, human-made, a number 7 carved in the metal. No cameras recorded movement, no sensors detected entry, no logs showed access. He came back, Tarkesh said, and he wanted us to know. The present emergency. As Tarkesh finished the story, a piercing alarm sliced through the canteen. All officers froze. Tarkesh checked the alert. His mandibles tightened. Unauthorized transport docking at Bay 14, he read. Human passengers aboard, one without identification. Shura whispered. Designation? Tarkesh's eyes narrowed.
Biometric pattern, consistent with Subject 7. The team stood in unison. Tarkesh holstered his weapon. Remember, he told them quietly, if it is him. Shura swallowed. Yes, Warden. Tarkesh nodded. It is never just one. He stepped toward the door, and it never ends where you think.